I just didn't want to do it. It's for many reasons. Um, One is because oftentimes people are not at that place where they are ready to surrender, right? Because you got to be
Mm-hmm.
willing to surrender what's those things, and be vulnerable about it, right? And sometimes people just
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that because, coming up, we always hear what goes on in our house stays in our house, right? And so now that you will be out and interacting with other people who are truly in the same predicament as you, but maybe just in a different stage of it, this will be able to give you great insight on how you can move forward in breaking those barriers, and so that you know that you're not alone, right? And so I'm just truly, I'm shocked in a kind of way of me going forward, because I'm an introvert. I don't like all that attention or nothing, but it was constantly being asked. So if they constantly asking for it, then let's take it to a whole nother level, and make it to a place where we all could sit down and have dialogue. So when God gave me the permission to say yes, even when I still wanted to say no, I decided to go ahead and be obedient with it. So that's how I move forward with the conference. I hope that makes sense.
So, yes, it made sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, now that you are 30 days out from the conference,
Whew.
and of course, you're going to see a lot more traction and things of that nature. Um, what would you say would be the biggest takeaway you want the people to get from your event?
The biggest takeaway is that it's never too late. It's never too late to break those barriers. No matter where you come from, what you're dealing with at the moment, what people tell you that is not possible, or people around you have truly shown you that it's not possible, it's definitely possible. It's possible for you to be able to break those barriers that you know that you need to break, in not only in your family but also yourself, because you got to be willing to start with yourself first. And if you could be able to do that, then maybe they will follow. But if not, you have to be okay and unapologetically say, you know what, I'm ready. So yes, that's the biggest takeaway. Just knows that is never a time limit on you moving forward and breaking your own barriers.
And so, who should come to this conference? Who is going to benefit from this conference?
Mm. People who are stuck. They're stuck in a place where they know they're in transition, but they just have not made the transition, right? They still doing the same thing over and over again, and they have not seen any results. They feel like they want to quit. They feel like it's not meant for them. They feel that
Mm-hmm.
it's so impossible. Those people, especially our women, we are the core that keeps the family together. And with us always taking care of everybody else, we need to be able to take time out for ourselves to constantly keep growing, constantly keep showing and planting seeds for our families. Um,
Mm-hmm.
them the women that needs to be in the room. And I'm not excluding men, but men are so silent and they suffer just like we do, but they just don't speak up, right? They could be able to still benefit of being in the room because there's somebody that's relatable, that understands their situation as well. But they have to be, again, they have to be willing to be vulnerable. They have to be willing to surrender. They got to be willing to be, have an open mind of just willing to receive what's going to take place at this conference.
Now, you have a male speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that you were going to have a male class.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the case?
I would love to be able to have a male class. However, again, men, they're silent. They're very silent. And we need more men to be able to know they should be in that room. But again, men are so silent. They have been taught to be able to just keep those things to themselves. They are taught not to move forward. That's what they are taught, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so we can't um, force them, but we would love for them to be in the room, because not only that, we as women could be able to learn from the men. You know what I mean? We could
Mm-hmm.
be able to learn from them, because we don't know it all. We just don't. There's the man side, and then there's the woman side. but we got to be able to come together collectively to be able to make this thing work, because we're talking about breaking barriers. There's relationship things that people are trying to break barriers, but they just don't know how. Again, we're talking about communication. They just don't know how. But again, we need to be able to come together in order for that to work.
Makes perfect sense. So, what are some of the categories and things you're going to be talking about at the conference?
Ooh, we're gonna be bold. We're gonna be very bold. We're gonna be very transparent. And one of the main thing is, in order for healing to begin, it starts with communication, right? We have to be able to take down these walls. We're gonna break down the walls that you have built up for yourself for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to break down those walls so you can be able to understand the importance of communication, not only the communication part of it, but how to the correct way to communicate and share your feelings, so somebody else can be able to understand. So hypothetically speaking, someone in your family have left you in a broken state, right? And in order for you to be able to and you got to be honest, you may not never get an apology from them. That's a possibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in order for you to get the forgiveness on your side, to forgive yourself, it's not about them, it's about you.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to give that forgiveness for yourself, you want to be able to have a conversation, right? You need to get this thing off of you, get that bad negative energy off of you, right? Whatever that feeling was, you got to get it off of you. And you have to be able to have a conversation with the people that left you in that space, right? And if you could be able to have that conversation, you are on the road to having some healing, some recovery, so you could be able to do the forgiveness part now, right? And then once we get to the forgiveness part, forgiveness is the hardest thing ever, because now you're reflecting on those things that happened to you, and you just like, dang, and you telling me I still got to forgive that person after they did X, Y, and Z? Yes. And so to be able to show you how to forgive in a way that it don't take away from you. It's not belittling you. It's not making you feel like you small. That part is what we really need, right? So we have to be
Mm-hmm.
able to take these steps in order to get things done. Same thing, like a lot of times people want to be able to start them a business, but then you transfer that same behavior over to from your life, and that you have yet to be able to deal with, and now you have transferred that information over to your business, right? So if you took this stuff to your business, what makes you think you're going to be able to grow a business if you still transfer that negative energy? You have to be able to deal with those things head on, and it's every day is going to be a work in progress, but at least you're willing to do the work, right? And so we can be able to build from there. It got to start somewhere, but you got to be willing to be in the room for it to start.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes perfect sense. You know, woo, you get a chill off of that good stuff, right? You got to be in the room for the healing to start,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you're taking ownership
Mm-hmm.
of the healing that's getting ready to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Sight unseen.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to take a leap. It means that you have to put yourself in a space and in a place so that you can receive the blessings from
Mm-hmm.
which you are supposed to receive, that you may have been hindering because you may not have been in the place that you needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, sometimes we tend to go for our own devices instead of going for the way that we are supposed to be led. We feel the leading. We
Ooh.
know that it's happening, but however, because it is unknown, we choose not to go.
Right.
But when you step foot into the Breaking Barriers Unapologetically conference, that means that you have opened yourself up to receiving what is here for you. You have opened yourself up to what is supposed to be on your plate,
Mm-hmm.
on your back, on your shoulders, in the atmosphere.